Hello, welcome back. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and we are back now with part 3 of this Jadlam build. It is currently the 24th of October 2024, and I'm not sure if I'm actually going to get this across the line in time. It's got to be done by the 1st of November, so we shall see. I've got some sanding to do down there. You can see I've put some more black super glue in there. We've got the canopy all masked up, and we've done the interior green around there. We've got to get that masking tape adhered to the back of the canopy there to make sure no paint gets in there, and that's part of the course here. The way I do this is tape it up, and then what you need to do is immediately before spraying is check everything. Now the first thing I need to do, I'd forgotten I'd done this, I need to get in here and sand this area down here and just get rid of this this black super glue that I've put in here. This is the VMS black thin. I'm just going to get rid of that. Now I'm not sure that panel line continues across the middle there, so what I've done is filled it, and I think it continues along these sort of streaks coming back from the wing, but I don't think it continues across the centre of the fuselage, so I'm going to leave that. But then, you know, I'm taking this build a little bit too seriously, to be honest, I think, but using it as a kind of, you know, a guide for you guys if you want to have a go at building one. So I'm going to get in there and sand that out, and then we're going to get and do some seam checking with primer. Okay, so there we go. So we've got our gallery, whatever you want to call it. This is the 98D airbrush, and I've got some of my Mr. Surfacer grey in there, thinned with leveling thinners. It's a little bit thick. That's okay. And we're just going to do some seam checking. So I'm going to go along these wing roots and see how they look. I'm going to get some paint on here. As I say, I think this is a bit thick, but it's just a base primer. We can sand it down, but it's got leveling thinners. It should all blend out anyway. So what we're doing is just check. Oh, blimey, this stinks. What we're doing is just checking wherever we've got any seams, wherever we've got any panels like this gone round. You know, around here, down this area, along the leading edges of the wings, stuff like that. I'm going to go in and I'm just going to get primer down, let it dry, blow this back, and this will show up, because it's a light grey colour, it will show up any areas that we thought were good, that in fact need to be looked at again. Now for example, I don't know if you can make this out, hopefully you can see what I'm talking about. We can see here around this area where I filled around the nose, just in front of my finger there, you can see there's a little divot. So we didn't see that before, but it's there now, and that's why we do this. It's just a seam checking exercise, just to make sure there's no bad seams or anything anywhere. I also need to cover up that light. I've got some scraps of tape here, so I'm just going to grab this little piece here. I'm going to cover up that formation light under there, just to make sure we don't get primer on that. So there we go, Mr. Unprepared as usual, but we'll get that seam done, and then I'll come back and show you when it's dry. This airbrush is bloody great, guys. I really am impressed with it. This has still got I put the 0.38 needle back in. I can't remember if I showed that in the video or not when I did the test, but yeah, really pleased with it. I can't get over how noisy it is. This is only at 18 psi. It seems to have a lot of air going through it. Just going to blow in all these seams, see what they look like. In the centre of that oil cooler and that around the outsides, and then this area here where we've got the wing root meeting, leading edges, wing tips. Oh, this is smelly. Let's get the window open and get the fan on. I've also got to sort out these gum ports. You can see I put Mr. Surfacer in there, because obviously when you actually build the model, they become like the shape of an eye, like the eye in your head. So I've put super glue in there so that we can drill them out and get them round. Just Just going to blow in these wingtips here, coming down this area here. I think we're pretty much done actually. You see the primer's staying quite wet. Get around those trailing edges of the wing there, we'll check that's all good. Roots of those wings there, or the tailplane should I say, not wings. There we are, you can see we're all looking pretty good. So happy with how that's come out. We've run out of primer, but I don't think we need any more, so that's cool. So I'm going to get the airbrush cleaned out and then come back and we'll have a look when it's dry, see how it looks. And we're back. So we've got the all the priming's done. I've checked all the seams, all good. I did a bit of rescribing here and everything. So we've now got the RAF sky. This is the this is my own. This is what Jason made me with my image on there. So this is the RAF sky that we used on the Gannet, and I've done this for the band around the tail here, and I've sprayed all down the sides here in RAF sky because my intention is to use the brilliant one-man army masks to achieve the letters down the side rather than using decals. So we've got the RAF sky there, we've got that there. I've also done the spinner and the spinner backplate in the same paint, and I've used my beautiful little Galeri GHAC 98, no cup. I've just, because it's a small amount of paint, I've just put the paint straight in there, as you can see, and you can see how well it sprays. It's an absolute dream to use. We run out of paint there, which was the intention, but you can see this paint has gone down. You can see it's gone down absolutely beautifully. So really impressed with this thing. And as I say, if you just do a small amount of paint, why dirty the cup and have to clean it? Just put the paint straight in there. And then what I'm going to do is come along with a cotton bud. This end is clean, this end is used. And I'm just going to go in there and remove that excess of paint. Now if I'd have been neater and tidier, I could have kept the paint out of the threads, but not to worry. So yeah, it's going to be much easier to clean now. So also note, when I use this, whenever I use my Iwata, I couldn't think of the name, I was thinking Outlaw, I get paint all in the cup there, but we don't get it on this one. You can see the front end of the airbrush is all clean. So interesting. So I'm going to give this a good clean now, and there we go. And I want to say a massive thank you to you guys that have been going on to onto the Galeri website and buying these, because you know, it all helps. It's absolutely brilliant. Thank you very much. And as I mentioned in my little chat I did yesterday, they're now going to send me one of their booths, which is the waterfall booths, which I cannot wait to get my hands on. Anyway, I shall see you all back in a second. Right, so now you can see why we've done this sky colour here, because I'm using the brilliant One-Man Army masks. And I'll show you how I do them. These are the masks here. These are the 18-inch ones. So you can get these in all the different sizes, 18, 20, 22, 24. So I'm using the 22 on here. These are the 22-inch masks. And as you can see, I've made a few mistakes. K has been damaged. So sorry, these are the 24s. So they are roughly just over 12 millimeters tall. And I've got the kit decal sheet here, and as we can see, the lettering there is just over 12 millimeters. So that's what I'm using. I was going to use the smaller type, but it's like these are like in a bold font, as you can see, and I don't have masks for those, so I thought I'd use this font instead. So maybe a little narcissistical, if that's the word. NMB, Motors Modelling Bench. So we'll have the decal for the roundel. I'm not going to bother painting the roundel. It's too much. I don't physically have the time. You can get beautiful results with them, but I just don't have the time. I just need to get this done. So how do we go about this? So we've got our sheet here, and what I've got is my Infini cutting mat, which is absolutely worth having in any modelling world. And what I'm doing is I'm spraying the, rather than do, because the way you can do it is actually use the mask, take the letter out and spray it afterwards. I want to do it beforehand, so I'm going to put the camouflage over the mask, and then when I remove the mask I'll have a nice flat surface. So what we're going to do is first of all use transfer tape, because obviously if we try and take this mask off, let me sort out this K a minute. if we try and take that off of there, right? If we try and take the mask off, I should have showed you then, shouldn't I? It's impossible to keep it shaped, so we need what we call transfer tape. So I've got some bits of tape, 10mm wide, 15mm long, and that fits these perfectly. You obviously have to measure the size of the rectangles you want to use. Now I'm going to make sure the tape stays away from the lower edge and the right hand edge, because that's the two edges, because it's going against the lower edge there and the right hand edge there. This is just a piece of masking I've cut square, and I think that's square. It kind of looks square anyway. I doubt if these were perfect anyway in real life, but we'll see how it looks. So I'm going to peel this off of here, and then hopefully I'm going to rub that down again, because it's not what I would normally do is put a piece of tape under the bottom left hand corner. I don't think that's necessary with these, because as I say, I'm lifting the backing off now. So that's coming away. That centre of that B has stayed on there, but that doesn't matter because that has to come off anyway. If I was doing it the other way round, then it would be a problem. So I'm going to grab, where's some small tweezers, where are they? Here's the paper plan I did to plan everything out. So basically I'm going to put this one into this corner. So I'm going to look at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to use the mask and put this up against that tape along the length and up against that square piece there, and then just gently just lay it down like that. Okay, I'm not pushing it down at the moment. And then next we want this is a 20mm piece of tape here, so this represents the roundel. So this is going to go on. This doesn't need to be perfectly square or anything, but it's good to get it if you can. Okay, so there we go. There's our gap. That's 20mm. The roundel is about 19mm. So I'm going to take this piece of tape off of here. These tweezers are knackered. So next we want is an M. So I'm going to get an M from here. As you can see, I've used 2 M's. Oh, I've only used one, sorry, it's the 2 ends I've used. So it doesn't really matter which edge we use here. In fact, I want the bottom edge and the left hand edge I want exposed. So we're going to rub that tape down well. One little tip I will give you, if you want to rub the tape, is put a piece of paper over the top, and then you don't have the risk of catching the edge and lifting it. So we should be able to get this tweezer. I don't know why I'm using those things, they're absolutely knackered. In fact, I don't know where my anise tweezers are. Maybe somebody's stolen them. Okay, so we've got that one there. We'll use this one here, and then we can butt this up. What have I done here? I've got the tape showing there. I've put it over the wrong way. I've done this wrong. I've got the transfer tape is all wrong. I'm going to turn the camera off and correct it, because I've put the transfer tape. I think I've got the transfer tape sticking out the bottom of the mask. Hang on a sec. Okay, I've got the transfer tape sticking over this side. I should have had it sticking over the other side. No, I shouldn't. That's right. I've actually done it correct. Duh. I'm talking like an idiot again. Right, so we obviously need that side. We can have the actual mask exposed. So what I'm doing is just laying this down. It's very difficult to get this square. I think that's pretty good. If you notice, I'm not pushing them out, I'm just laying them down and just tapping them. And then finally we'll get an N. So we'll put this down on the N. And I need the bottom and the right hand edge exposed, so we'll put that on like that. Give it a good rub, and then we'll get a knife under the corner, see that the whole thing comes up. There we go, we've got the whole thing come up. Just gently touch it like that. And then we can place it on our model against the tape at the bottom. You can see it's great. It's okay until you push it. Just don't push it down. It's when you push it down you'll get the problems. So we can tap that down like that and you can see, right, so now we're good. We can rub these down. Okay, rub them down nice and solid. And now we can come along and get underneath there. And we can lift. I want to take the whole thing, not just the transfer tape. So we can take that off of there. Oh dear, my tweezers are shot. Need to get some new ones. Okay, so we can take that one off of there. Come around this side. Come up underneath. I've distorted it now. But you can see the transfer tape helps to keep the mask in shape, so it stays like an N. The trouble is with this one, when I've pulled it off, it's gone out of shape because obviously you've got that bit there holding and that bit there holding. But you can imagine if you were actually if you were peeling the middle out, because what you would do, if you wanted to, is do it this way: is take the transfer tape off, which is masking tape. Can take that off of there because the transfer tape will not stick to the mask as well as the mask will stick to the model. However, when it's on here, the transfer tape sticks to the mask better than it does to that backing. And now what we can do is come along and remove our backing. And as you can see, without transfer tape, it's impossible to keep it in shape. So that's why we use the transfer tape. Okay, so there we go. So, and then finally we'll do this one. Get under here. We can remove that. And then just get the corner of the knife into that little bit there. Just lift that and hopefully we can grip that with the tweezers. And up she comes. And there we go. And then we can remove that spacing there. That's only approximate. The round will fit in there lovely. And there we have our NMB. Now what we need to do here as well, because we've got the canopy in the retracted position, we need to make sure that the mask has gone down really well into that corner. I need a cocktail stick. A new one would be good rather than a used one. Just push that down into that corner. And then what I'm going to do is just run the knife into there gently, so that once again it looks like the canopy is open. And is up over that, covering that B, the top of that B. And there we go. Do the same on the other side now with the N. Take the tops off the N. Just like so, just do that. And then with the knife, it's a very acute angle, just slide across and that will cut that top off of that end. We keep the acute angle so it saves it dragging the mask. We should be able to come in with our tweezers and get that off. And there we go, there's our mask chopped off, so it looks like the canopy is slid back over. Okay, so there's our NMB masked up. So what we can do now is remove all of these bits and pieces. And we are ready to start painting the model as normal. Back in a minute. So quite a lot done now. So we've got the propeller done, as you can see, tips painted yellow and then masked off and propeller painted black. We've got our wheels, tyres, we've got other bits here, the exhaust air primed in black, we've got the tail wheel done, ready to go on. We've got the antenna and the rear view mirror there to be painted when we're doing the camouflage. And then we've got the door there as well, the access door. And that's pretty much it really. There's a few bits and pieces, undercarriage legs and that in here, which we'll put on after we've done all the painting and decals and everything. So yeah, so we've done the underside as well. That's had a pre-shade. You can hardly see it, but it's there. A pre-shade of like a brown red colour. I think it was XF9 or something, red brown. So yeah, it's there, but I don't like to use black under the lighter greys because it can look a bit harsh. So I don't know if you can just make it out on the tailplane there. It just breaks up the surface instead of having that just grey. So there we are. Done a bit of scribing here. That's a bit sorted. That line there is a bit of a mess, but I'm not going to worry about that. I won't tell anyone if you don't. So already now we're going to mask up, as you can see from the painting instructions. We've got a clean masking line there across that belly. We've got a clean masking line down there along that panel line from the tail of the wing. So that's what we'll get done now. In fact, it's not along that panel line, is it? I'm glad I looked closely. It's not along that panel line at all. It is from there to there. So it's a straight line there. So we'll get that done, get that masked up, and then we'll start to get some camouflage down. There we go. She's looking like a checkerboard now. So we've done the masking underneath. The whole bottom is masked off because I've got this cheaper 1-inch wide masking tape here, which is good for general covering up, and then the edges are all done with Tamiya. These edges here, do them and then just carve them with a knife, and then what I do is I get a sanding stick, a fairly hard sanding stick, it's one of the Matadors, and just rub down over the top like that. So there we go. So what we've got to do now is start looking at some paint. I've got these two colours here, XF81, XF82. This is XF83 on the bottom. It's a range of Tamiyas they brought out for their Spitfire when they did the Mark 9. So they're great colours. They're also good for your Vulcans and stuff like that. So I'm going to do the grey first because it is the lighter colour. And what we'll do first is we'll go out. I'm going to do it freehand and see if I can get a nice tight edge. Alright, so I've got the airbrush here, set at about 18 psi. I've got the paint. This is, as I say, this is the Tamiya XF82. You can see I've written air on there. I've pre-thinned it with Mr. Colour leveling thinners, about 50-50. Just do it how, you know, how it feels nice really. You can always add some more. I've got way too much paint in there. I haven't put the cap on the top, which I should really, because if I do spill it on the model I'll be really annoyed. So we can put the cap on. There we go. Make sure that hole is clear when you do that. So then we've got our, in fact I'm going to put this to one side, and I can use, I've got a piece of paper here, I can use this to protect the bench. I'm not really too worried about protecting the bench because it's already made a mess. So we've got our guide here, so I'm going to put that the same as it is, same orientation as the model. So we'll start on the wing here. So we're going to go along and then over to like the second gun. So I'm going to come out here to the wingtip. So I'm just going to check my flow. You can see the flow is lovely. So I'm just going to do a line like that and go over to the gun like so. So there we are. So that's the edge of that one. And then we're going to go from just inside that line on the aileron. We're going to go up and around across the back of that teardrop and then down over there. So we're going to come up over here, across the back of there, down there. Okay, so it's going to go like that, bit up and down, up there, and then down there. And then the edge of that line is going to go over the guns, and it's going to be quite squiggly and sort of end up at the bottom of the cockpit there. So we're going to go back here like that, quite squiggly. Okay, so yeah, in fact I think we need to come this way a bit with that one, so we need to come that way a bit, and then we're going to come up the side of the fuselage from there, up the side of the fuselage, along and up over the top like that. Okay, so I'm just going to do that and then basically come along and using circular motions I'm going to fill in. The reason I use circular motions is because we're going to leave some paint showing. So we're going to leave the black paint showing so that we get the pre-shading effect. And I want that to show through. So go in a circular motion so we don't get lines. I want to paint the top of these guns as well. I'm just going to keep the paint like that, maybe go down the side a touch. Just checking the flow. As you can see, going in, and the control I've got here is absolutely incredible. It's really nice, this airbrush. Just keeping it going. You can see the pre-shading is showing through. And as the paint dries, it will burn through that and it will become more apparent. So there we go. I'm just going to go along here, go down here. Fill that area in there. As you can see, we've got that effect. It's no good. The paint isn't drying fast enough for me to show you, but we'll get there. So I'm just going to carry on and do this. I'm going to do it in the booth because of the smell. It's not good for you at all. See, just blowing in here, going over the Nigel's modelling bit of Nigel's modelling bench, and then we're going to come up like that. We're going to go over the top there. Okay, we're going to go up behind that panel line there, so we'll fill in. You can see it's not a race, we're just building it up slowly. It's not a particularly warm day. If it was a warm day, I'd be going a bit heavier, because if you go this light on a hot day, the paint will dry before it even hits the model. But, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to carry on, get all the grey done, and then I get the green done, and then we'll see how it looks after we're finished. There we are, all done. Obviously got to unmask it and everything now. A couple of bits I want to go in and touch in. I'm not happy with the green just down the edge there. It's a bit, you can see it's a bit faded. I've got it a bit thin down there. I need to get more down the side of that gun. All of this is okay. I have noticed the back, I need to come in at that angle and get the back edge of the canopy. As you can see, the back edge of the canopy is grey and it's in among the green, so we've got to get that done. So yeah, just a couple of little touch-ups. I might even do it with a brush, we shall see. But there we go. So it's time to, I think, to get it unmasked, and then we'll let it dry first, and then give it a clear coat ready for the decals. I think what I'll probably do is take these masking off these letters before I clear coat, and then that will help to flatten all the paint out and blend it into one layer rather than having edges and stuff, which is always a problem. Which is why I did the NMB first, because if I did it afterwards, I would have to lay down more paint to cover the green and the grey, and then I would probably have raised NMB. So I like to do it that way around. I also like to do that with my roundels and stuff as well. If I'm doing roundels when masking them, I like to paint them on first and then put the camouflage over the top, because the camouflage is always darker than the, except for the blue. But simple wing roundels here, what I would do here if I was using masks, I would spray red in the centre, put the centre covering the red, okay, put the outside on and spray the blue. That way the blue is so thin because it covers so well. Or what you can do is spray a red, put the mask in the centre, spray the blue, and then mask the whole roundel and then paint camouflage over the top. I've done videos on it, lots of different ways of going around everything, and I've shown you all the different ways and the different results you get. We also need to do this leading edge yellow on the wings here, so lots of work to do. So I'm going to think about getting this unmasked. In fact, I'm not going to unmask everything, because when we do those wing leading edges, we need to keep the masking here, don't we? So what I want to do is just peel back the masking in that area, mask that area, and then do the yellow. See you back in a minute. Alright, we've moved forward a bit from here. I've put the metal shaft into the back of the propeller, as you can see, and we've got the propeller just going like that now, and that saves having to worry about having that prop there while we're assembling the fuselage. If you remember, got a bit of dust on there. I've had some troubles getting these decals to go down into the panel line, so I've been going over with Mark Fit Super Strong, keeping it off the paint, just getting it on the decal, and that's been making them go down well. You can see on that fin there, they've gone in lovely. On the wing, they've gone in lovely. So that's all good. Right, so and it's had a flat coat. It's had a flat coat of LP23 flat clear. Semi-gloss is 24. I can never remember which is which. So so there we go, and as the prop has as well. I glued the spinner together with that white glue so we didn't get any glue marks in the paint. And as you can see, it's all lovely with its decals on there and everything. All looking good. So the reason I put the camera on now is because we come to that point where we're going to be doing some unmasking, which I know everybody loves to see. So I am going to come in here with the tweezers and remove this tape from here. There we go, and then we can pull that sponge out from in there. There we go, and we can remove this tape from here. We've got to be careful because we've got seat belts, control column, all that lovely stuff that's just waiting to get broken off. You can see there that it's worked, masking on the edge of the clear parts. That's good. I've got a bit of a touch up to do there, that's fine. Now then, the crucial part is this at the back. Let's do the front first. So we're just going to come in and just lift a corner and then hopefully get underneath that corner with these tweezers. Let's get my little pointed ones. Underneath that corner and lift. There we go. So that's come out all right, and then we've got, I'm going to get in this one with the knife. Just basically go ahead and lift. For the newer modelers out there, just go in and lift. Don't try and slide across because you'll scratch your clear part. I'm struggling with that corner, so I'll go to a different corner. There we go. So what I'm doing is lift, I'm sort of scooping, I'm not sliding, because then you'll scratch your part. There we go, that's there. And it looks like we're okay with that. Remember I had that issue with the inner frame showing. Looks like we don't have an issue there now. So there we go, so there's our Canopy unmask. Now on the top here we've got a liquid mask, if you remember. Come in there, come on, come off. Just gently, come on. Better off using a cocktail stick than tweezers really, but as it's such a tiny area. There we go. And that was the Mr. Hobby mask we used there, so that's good. Our windscreen's looking all good, nice and clear. And as I say, we don't have that problem, we'll be able to see the frame down through there, so that's good. Right, this is the moment of truth. Let's see what this has come out like, because this is what a lot of you are interested in. Is this going to look like a mess, or is it going to look like a canopy slid back over a rear screen? There we go, and I've still got the piece of tape on the front edge there that hasn't come away. So I'm just going to lift that, get under that, take that off as well. And I think you'll agree, it's quite convincing, isn't it? Very clever, Airfix. So we can see that little green panelling behind there with the canopy slid back. Chuff with that. Okay, so now we can start looking at adding some small detail parts. So I'm going to go on and get all them done. It's going to be like undercarriage, pitot tube, there's something else going under here, tail wheel, and then I think we might look at doing a little bit of weather and maybe a bit of streaking or something. I've got to get on with this because today is October the 29th and I've got 1 day basically left to finish it. I'm waiting for some VMS varnish to turn up from Brooks Models, but it hasn't turned up as yet. It's been sent Royal Mail first class, so I'm hoping it gets here today. But Royal Mail in my neck of the woods is not the best. It's, for example, when I was sent my new clear sprue for the Stuka, I asked for a tracking number and Airfix replied. They gave me a display from the Royal Mail website, and they'd attempted to deliver it twice, and neither time I was in apparently, but they didn't put a card through the door. And one of the days I was definitely here. I was here all day, so that's how good Royal Mail is around here. But I think things are improving, to be honest. If we're going to be positive. But yeah, this is looking lovely. I'm really chuffed with how this looks. It's great. We've got to glue that little door on there, do that touch up there, and do the little bits and pieces. So I'll see you when I've done that. I'll come back when we do that. And there we go. I'm going to consider it done. I can't bother to weather it. I don't really have time. What I could do is actually add a little drop of oil to that door there. So we're going to get the industrial dirt. We'll get a Tamiya pot. I just want a tiny drop. So can I get it on the end of the brush without actually pouring some out, save wasting it? It's very difficult to get a tiny amount out. There we go, I got it all down the side. Right. So we'll just brush that on there. Over the top as well, pick up the hinge detail, and then just grab a cotton bud. Just very gently so I don't break it off. Just to give it a bit of a look. And also I think we'll do these undercarriage legs as well. Just to give them a bit of interest. We could do the wheels as well. Get some down in the valve hole. There we go. Oh, and I've got to do that touch up, haven't I, as well? I've got to do that touch up on the I've got to do a touch up of grey there and a touch up of green there. In fact, we need to paint around both canopies, don't we? So I'm going to get that done. I'll leave the camera going so you can see that. What I'm going to do is grab my XF, where are they? XF81 and XF82. This is all live stuff, guys. Hey, this is great. Fresh from the horse's mouth, eh? Right. Grab a little brush. Let's grab a tiny brush. Just grab a tiny drop of paint. And then we'll go onto there. Down there. And we can hold the wing. And then just go around the edge of the canopy, just like so. Keep the brush on the outside and then you won't risk getting paint on the clear parts. We've done that mirror in silver as well. I'm just going to do the front edge of the rear canopy, which is way over scale because it has to be, because it incorporates that rear as well, but I think it's better to have it painted green than all just clear looking at us. There we go, that looks a lot smarter now in the cockpit area. You can just wipe the brush off, don't need to worry about cleaning it out properly or anything. And we'll just grab a drop of the XF82, just give it a gentle shake. Just literally going to touch where the sprue gate was, there on the back of that antenna. It's quite a big sprue gate actually, so there we are, that looks better. Right, I think she's ready to go. I think we can call that done. So what I've got to do now, excuse me, I've got to get some pictures. Just want to clean this brush out a second, grab a drop of thinners. Just get the brush into the thinners. Just give it a twist and a pull back, save damaging the bristles. There we go, that'll do. Put that back in its pot. So, yeah, what we're going to do, we're going to have photographs on Jadlam's Facebook page, I believe, and you can go on there and vote. So if you see this one and you like it, give us a vote. And it's the one with NMB, Midas Modelling Bench. So that is basically out of the box, guys, other than using those masks for the NMB and the Edward seat belts that you can see inside there. So overall, very pleased with it. It's a lovely little kit. The decals were a bit of a struggle to get down, which was very unusual for an Airfix kit, because normally Airfix cartograph decals are the best of any manufacturer, in my opinion. So yeah, maybe I should have used the masks throughout, the one-man army masks. But there we go. So very happy with that. A massive thank you to Jadlam for donating the kit to do the build. And I wish everybody else good luck. I didn't have the imagination to come up with any fancy colour schemes. But I know James over at Boldly Go, and I know Fenris and Sully have all done some really fancy colour schemes. So be interested to see. I think, oh yeah, Moss has done one as well. I'm not sure if he goes over the line though. We shall see. He was very close, but not quite there the other day. Anyway, thank you for watching. I will see you all soon. That's one done. Thank God. I've now got 17 other models I've got to get done for Wingnut Wings Wednesday and Saturday for the Porsche and Sunday for Stukas, and I've really dug myself a hole here and I can't get out of it. Oh, by the way, the exhausts, if you're wondering, I painted those. If you go and look at my Porsche, my Poker Porsche build, you'll see I mixed the paint for the colour of magnesium, and what I found was that was a great colour for those exhausts, and then I've dry brushed them with buff. The other thing I've done, I've very lightly, I don't know if you can make it out there, I've got some exhaust staining down there with the buff as well in the from the airbrush, heavily thinned and then put down. So there we are. Right. Hope you like it. Hope you like that open canopy thing, which is I don't think anybody else has done, but we shall see. I know none of my sort of friends have done it, so be interested to see what other people have done. I'll see you all soon. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.